Welcome in indeed, everyone. Matt Moscona from After Further Review, Shea Dixon of the Bengal Tiger on 3.com, and Michael Cauble, yours truly, bringing you another sports takeover after the bye week. Gents, you had a weekend off. Did you spend it well?
I went to dinner with my wife and really enjoyed not having to work on a Saturday. It was wonderful.
Shay, anything fun?
I put off a lot of honeydews and
you pushed
changed that into just hanging out on the couch.
Nothing wrong with either one of those. Always
Wasn't good timing on the bye week.
Always good to spend time with the wife during the bye week. And we've gone to many a dinner during the bye week. And yes, you definitely have to woo all over again. Speaking of having success, you know, Brian Kelly talked about it. October is for pretenders. November is for contenders. And, you know, here we are, November 1st, getting ready to turn the calendar to one of the biggest games ever. And the Tigers are really trying to make sure that everything they do is keying in on having success down the stretch. Brian Kelly and company really have to compliment the job that they have done for the first, you know, 2 quarters or 2/3 of the season. And now as the back third begins, it's all about focusing and making sure your team is primed. The Tigers have looked great in their last 2 outings. Ever since that Tennessee loss, they found that formula for success. And yesterday, Coach Kelly talked about maybe a new key for trying to get this team ready from the jump. Something they haven't been able to do with these slow starts so far.
The first thing we need to do is just understand that, you know, you have to take this game and think about how you got here. And we've done it by our preparation. We've prepared well. We have focused on playing our best when our best is needed. We can't be distracted by this is a big game or this is Alabama. That's not going to help us in this situation. What's going to help us is playing our best when our best is needed.
You know, that's something we've seen throughout the years with different coaches, the focus and the attention that you give this Alabama game. For the fans, it's always the biggest game of the season, but the coaches approach it differently. You know, Coach O, it's just another game. Les Miles said it was a big game, and now we're hearing from Brian Kelly that he also thinks it's a big game. With Alabama on the calendar, what are your thoughts?
I think Les's approach proved to be detrimental because inevitably when LSU did lose the game, you always had the letdown after the game from the fan base. There was a general malaise. You saw LSU struggle so many times going to Arkansas after that Alabama loss. So Ed, I thought, had a better approach, and I think Brian Kelly maybe is trying to mirror that a little bit as well. It's big because obviously there's significance to the result, but you can't make it bigger than it is, which is a game on the schedule.
I think one thing that we've known about all season but pays off in a week like this is the walkthroughs in practice the day of the game. Like, I think from a long time talking to players after the game, it was we had a bye week, we were just sitting around thinking about it. Then game day got there, and then we sat around until 6 at night thinking about it. I like the idea of them getting out there early, kind of letting that first energy out and then take on the game. I feel like I sense there's not a lot of pressure around LSU this week.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think most people outside the fan base probably doesn't expect them to win, but you're talking about something new that Coach Kelly is implementing this year. One thing that he's implementing this week is moving contact up at practice. He talked about trying to get his juices, his team's juices, going earlier in the game.
What I started doing about 3 weeks ago is I moved up some articulation or some contact, 11-on-11 contact from when it would be 45 minutes into practice. I moved it up into the first 20 minutes of practice to kind of heighten that and get our guys ready immediately when they come out to practice that, hey, we need to get after it. We need to be ready right away. You know, we're trying to look at some quizzes before, on Saturday morning and making sure that we're sharp mentally. So we're looking at all those things to make sure. And sometimes it's just you got to go make a play.
Quizzes?
Are they multiple choice?
What are we doing?
Is it fill in the blank? Is this like an ad lib?
It's still a football team, right?
I'm imagining that's like drawing stuff on the board, right, and then accurately describing.
Hey, look, which one's an apple, which one's a banana? I don't know.
Do you remember how Les Miles started every practice? Big cat drill.
Big cat?
It didn't matter. So, I mean,
go the other way instead of beating each other up. Hit the classroom. Ooh, a couple tests.
Graduate champions. We're seeing it throughout the entire program, huh? No doubt about it, though. This is a big week. The SEC West currently on the line. Both teams atop the conference standings in their division. And we're going to talk about the schedule a little bit later more. But, I mean, this is a fantastic weekend, really, for college football. And it starts here in Baton Rouge. When we come back, we're going to talk about Brian Kelly's history with Alabama. Not exactly the best, as you are currently seeing. Stick around. The Sports Takeover continues.
If you're suffering from dry eye symptoms, there's a new treatment with IPL at the Williamson Dry Eye Center.
You may have heard of IPL technology before. Now we're able to use this to actually treat dry eyes. It's safe, gentle, effective, and has been proven in clinical trials. With OptiLight IPL therapy, we're able to fight inflammation that's often the cause of dry eye. These gentle light pulses boost the function of the meibomian glands to restore tear production and help relieve symptoms. One of the benefits of IPL technology is that many of our patients get dry eye relief without the use of any drops, and some have eliminated drops completely. The procedure is quick and safe, it takes zero downtime, and only takes 10 to 15 minutes. We'll get you scheduled up in our Dry Eye Center, home of advanced technology and advanced testing, and there we'll actually create a custom treatment plan for you. So if you have dry eyes or dry eye that hasn't been able to be treated before, come into Williamson Eye Center and we'll see if you're a candidate for IPL technology.
Hello, I'm State Senator Regina Barrow. I lost a dear friend to pancreatic cancer, Representative Ronnie Edwards. I know the importance of early detection. I'm supporting the Elvin Howard Senior Pancreatic Cancer Advocacy Foundation. Join our live virtual event on Friday, November 11th at 7 p.m. Go to the Elvin Howard Senior PCAF.org for more information. We are taking flight in the fight. Come participate, pray, and give.
Our friends at Home Bank are known for investing in and giving back to our community.
That's why we are partnering to collect coats to Pat's Coats for Kids.
As you know, Chris, the need to keep the kids of our area warm grows every year.
We're here to help. You can stop by any of our 4 Baton Rouge locations to donate coats. Corporate, Bluebonnet, Sherwood Forest, and Long Farm Village.
You can also help by donating online at WBRZ.com.
Help keep a child warm this winter, and we guarantee it will warm your heart.
Now return to the WBRZ Sports Takeover.
Certainly what's to say about Alabama other than consistency, excellence, arguably the greatest head coach in college football history, and Nick Saban. I have a great deal of respect for Nick and what he's accomplished and what he's done for college football.
Certainly done a lot for college football, done a lot for college football coaches, raising their salaries throughout the years with all of the national championships and price bumping that he has been doing. But yes, it is great to see another, college coach acknowledge the job that Nick Saban's done throughout the course of the last 20 years in the game. Guys, you've worked with Brian Kelly a limited amount here, but you've also been around Nick Saban enough and seen him enough. Do you see any comparisons, any similarities between the two?
It's the attention to detail. Yeah. I think it's the thing everybody says. I mean, when Brian Kelly comes in to Baton Rouge and he starts talking about everything from sleep patterns to accountability tests to what you eat, it's just having your thumb on every single detail of the program, and that's what Nick is. That's the accountability that was lost under Ed Orgeron. So clearly Nick Saban's national championships stand above anybody else, but if you're looking for a comparison between the two coaches, that would have to be it.
Shea, that CEO-style approach working for both.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, these are guys who've done it win percentage at the highest level. I mean, Saban's coming up on 30 years as a head coach. Brian Kelly's been 33 years or more as a head coach. So, like Matt said, they understand every little level of what goes into putting a product on the field that's consistent. And I would say that's kind of the parallels between the two.
Yeah, Brian Kelly and Nick Saban, no stranger to one another. Both of them have met in big games in the past. Unfortunately for Brian Kelly, both of them have been rather lopsided and ugly. This one especially, though, in the national championship game. It was a tough day.
This is the year, but for the Yeldon screen, LSU would have been playing in this game.
And yes, thanks for reminding us of that fantastic memory, right, as we saw him just... But tons of playmakers, and Brian Kelly talked about it. He was asked, I wanted to ask what kind of interactions they had. I thought it was interesting that Brian Kelly called Nick Saban before he took the LSU job, and Brian kind of downplayed it a little bit yesterday, saying that it was mostly about the conference. I'm sure he really did want to pick his brain about LSU and the job it was, but I was just wondering, yes, as Shea mentioned, two very high-level successful coaches that have crossed paths over the years. Brian Kelly certainly remembers these games.
They were extremely talented teams. The 13 team was as physical as a football team that I've ever played against, and have not played a team as physical. And then if you look at the perimeter skill that they had in, I think that was 19, it was amazing. So, two different teams, but, just fabulous players on both sides of the ball.
Those games are why Brian Kelly's at LSU.
Absolutely, and I thought about that yesterday when he showed up, and that's why I asked him, do you think you have a chance with this team? You know, is this team ready? Because that's really the question mark, you know, about when he came here is, well, now he has, I guess, a similar offensive weapons, you know, similar defensive speed and strength, and they're not there this year. But absolutely, I agree with you.
I had a conversation with Tony Barnhart, at SEC Media Days, Mr. College Football, Tony Barnhart, said this LSU team is the most talented team Brian Kelly will have ever coached.
Do you believe that?
LSU team.
People
Yes.
said that before the year,
I do.
asked if this
I
would
do.
be, and this is a transfer-filled, freshman-filled team. This isn't even a traditional LSU roster.
You could potentially have 8 to 10 players drafted off this team. Brian Kelly never had that many draft picks in a year at Notre Dame.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and it's why I think LSU has a shot in this ball game. Taking on this year's Alabama team, not going to say it's the easiest team that Nick Saban's ever had to defeat, but it's certainly fallible, and we've seen that throughout the course of the year. One guy who's proven his mettle time and again, last year's Heisman winner, quarterback Bryce Young. The Tigers certainly have a challenge containing him. They've had challenges in the past trying to take on mobile quarterbacks, but Bryce really adds a different dimension. Brian Kelly talked about him.
You know, the Heisman Trophy winner is a playmaker. When it comes to making plays on the field, you know, you just put on the film and you watch him. It's pretty amazing, some of the plays that he makes. And he's a quarterback. He's a quarterback that is talented. He's not making it up, but he is improvising and making plays, and he's elite.
You know, but if we took the pictures off of this full screen right here and told you who was the better quarterback, you might be hard-pressed to tell us. This is Jaden Daniels and Bryce Young in the various statistics that they have this year for their teams. And as you can see, Jaden doing a better job of completing balls versus attempts, but also, you know, doing a fantastic job running the ball. Throwing touchdowns, not as far off as I thought he might have been, in those rushing touchdowns, certainly elite. Now, Bryce Young was injured.
Bryce also missed time.
He missed one game.
Did injure himself in that Arkansas game and was out a game. So that definitely makes a difference. But I think, again, that this Alabama team, as it is right now, LSU has a shot, you know, contending, if not possibly winning this one. I don't think they're going to win the game. I'll say it right now. I think that LSU will lose this game Saturday, but I do think that there is a puncher's chance in this one.
I don't know if you could tell by how Brian Kelly was talking there. He said a lot more about Bryce Young, too. Don't get it twisted. Bryce Young is a lot better than Hendon Hooker. This is the best quarterback they will face this year.
And because he can chuck it down the field and
he
the
can do
playmakers
everything
around him.
The biggest difference is Alabama doesn't have Jalen Hyde and Brew McCoy. It's weird because Bama has had so many great receivers over the years, from Amari Cooper and recently with Smith, and we all know the names. That guy isn't on this team.
Right.
It's the biggest difference in why Bryce Young's passing numbers don't pop the way that you might expect.
They have a transfer running back from Georgia Tech. I mean, if that tells you anything about kind of where the roster is with Alabama, that's why I think they can be had. We'll find out this weekend. When we come back, we're going to talk about the boys in the trenches. LSU's offensive linemen needing a big game to protect their quarterback and establish the run game. That's coming up next after this.
After decades of duplicating, we're going digital, providing our customers with the latest technology and exceptional customer service.
Before, years ago, we just simply used the copy machine to copy, but now we're able to copy and print and scan and email, and that just with one machine. That makes everything easier. Not only do they sell the product and guarantee it, they back it up and they service that product.
Call us now for all of your digital office products. BRDP, experience no one can copy.
When you're remodeling your home, from the simple to the complex, let Regal Remodelers handle all of your projects. From bathrooms to flooring to full kitchen remodels, Regal Remodeling can take the stress away. Call today, 810-3388 for your free estimate. Let Regal Remodelers show you how beautiful your home can be. 100% financing is available. When you're looking for quality craftsmanship at an affordable price, call the experts. Call Regal Remodelers at 810-3388 today.
At Raising Cane's, we take pride in supporting our hometown of Baton Rouge. And this year, we're proud to partner with WBRZ's Pat's Goats for Kids.
Helping children stay warm from the cold has been our mission for over 34 years. And for just $20, you can give a coat to a child in need.
Help us spread one love this season by donating today. And on behalf of myself and all our Raising Cane's crew members, thank you for supporting Pat's Goats for Kids.
Pat's Coats for Kids is proudly sponsored by Raising Cane's.
I finally get to to fulfill my lifelong dream of being in the FBI.
It's the reason why I chose each of you, the outside-the-box thinkers.
He's been selling to my grandson. Not on my watch. What do we do now?
Call for backup.
You do that.
Come on, wait.
FBI, show me your hands. I did good, right?
Now return to the WBRZ Sports Takeover.
You feel like your team is ready for this opponent at this time?
Well, we have no choice. Unless Alabama wants to forfeit, I don't think that's in Nick's plans.
No, Nick Saban not known to be forfeit anyone. You guys are laughing at my question.
Yeah.
I left it very open-ended.
He said they might forfeit.
I wanted to see where he'd go with it because I wanted to see how he would approach the answer. I mean, I didn't think he'd obviously say, no, we're not ready. We need more time. But, I mean, it is a big ask for a program, as we've talked about, that's building through the transfer portal, that's early in the process. That was the part you didn't hear of that question. Still hate it, huh? All right.
I just think that's why there's a no-pressure feel to this. LSU's already ahead of schedule of where they should be. They're 6-2. People thought they would win 6 games total. So you can lose this game, still win 9 games in the regular season, Matt, and go to a bowl game and win 10 games in year 1.
That would be pretty
Why
incredible.
is there any pressure on LSU?
I don't think there is, except that as they've won now, there is a greater expectation that they might win the game, which is why you might have a little more expectation Saturday in Tiger Stadium.
And if they're going to win the game, they're going to have to do it with offense, outscoring the Alabama Crimson Tide, no doubt about it. A big thing that would go towards that is their offensive line holding up in protections. Clearly, they're banged up. Garrett Dellinger listed as day-to-day with a knee injury. Now, the big key piece, though, is Will Campbell being back in the lineup. We've seen the success that the Tigers have had when he is in there. But it begs the question, how much will the rest of the offensive weapons, the tight ends, the running backs, have to be involved in trying to protect against Will Anderson in that Tide pass rush?
Well, I think you have to employ, schemes that help out the tackles, whether it's, a tight end or a running back, or you're sliding your protection there, but they're pretty good on both sides. So the ball's got to come out quickly. We've got to recognize that. We're not going to be able to sit back there in the pocket and just kind of, go through 5 progressions. I mean, the ball's got to come out quickly. We're going to have to move the pocket. We're going to have to, protect. We're going to have to max protect. So we're going to have to do a little bit of all of those things. But certainly additional players other than the offensive linemen will be involved in protection, no doubt.
Getting the ball out quick, the key.
I dare you to jailbreak against Jaden Daniels. It's playing to his strength. Alabama for so many years dominated LSU because of guys like Terrence Cody, Jonathan Allen, Ashawn Robinson, Jerron Reed, Marcel Darius. This Bama team on the interior of their defensive line doesn't look like those. When LSU couldn't move the ball between the tackles because they got dominated, this ain't that Bama team. So I like LSU's athletic freshman tackles, and if Bama wants to try to bring pressure off the edge against Jaden Daniels, good luck. I mean, you are begging to get burned with his feet. It's why this quarterback and quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels have given Alabama's defense troubles over the years.
Again, though, Dallas Turner and Will Anderson are our next-level edge rushers.
They're formidable.
This is a big test for a couple true freshmen, 18-year-old offensive tackles. But, again, I think, and I've said it all year, you can tell Jaden Daniels has started 30-something college games.
The poise.
He feels it coming. As Matt said, he's quick to tuck it and run. I think this is a game where we do see Jaden Daniels use his legs a good bit, and by design. We saw a lot of that in the Ole Miss game. Maybe more designed Jaden Daniels runs than we'd seen at any other point.
And if not him, then Josh Williams certainly is proved capable as a running back, really squeezing. And the Tigers got good running downhill late in the game against the Rebels. Brian Kelly talked about the need to continue to have that balance.
You need to find some balance within your offensive structure. If you're so one-dimensional that you have to throw the ball on those second and third down situations, then the defense has the advantage in those kinds of situations. And I think Mike's done a really good job of making sure that through play calling, there is a balance where you have to defend the run and you have to defend the pass. And that's been the philosophy from day one, is that we better be equally as good at both, depending on what we get.
Yeah, tip of the cap there to Mike Denbrock. We probably haven't said that. As the offense has evolved and Jane Daniels got more comfortable, everything seems to be much more fluid. Any thoughts on the offensive scheme?
Denbrock's play calling, I think, has been fantastic the more he's learned his offense. The other thing, tip of the cap to the offensive line. If we go back to the first couple of weeks of the show, I sat here and said Jane Daniels was going to be a leading rusher out of necessity because LSU's offensive line wasn't good enough to get a traditional running game going. In the past 2 weeks, you've certainly seen this offensive line progress. And a dude that has not gotten nearly enough credit is Charles Turner. He has stabilized the interior. They tried every dang body at center to throw him out the boat in the preseason, and he bided his time, and he has stabilized that unit.
Real quick, some other news coming out of Alabama this week. Auburn firing their head coach Brian Harsin after a 3-5 start to this year, just a 9-12 record overall. Once again, turbulence on the plane, something that we probably shouldn't be all that surprised about. Does it shake up the balance of power at all in the SEC West?
No. Heading into this season, Auburn was the worst team on paper with the worst head coach in the SEC West.
And
this is not a surprise. This should not even have dragged into this. It actually should never have happened.
This is relevant if they hire Lane Kiffin. You need Ole Miss to always be a runt. When Lane Kiffin is in Oxford, that's a problem for LSU. I don't care if he's at Auburn because Auburn's always tough. I don't need Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss beating LSU anymore. Auburn, go hire Lane Kiffin, let Ole Miss be a runt again.
Man, could you imagine Lane Kiffin taking a torch to the behind-the-scenes drama that goes on at Auburn? Those Twitter fingers are going to be hot.
I'm here for it.
Well, this would be a Tuberville, right? Like,
exactly.
Over my dead body, am I leaving Oxford?
Oh, that would be great.
And then right into the head coaching job at Auburn.
Matt, thanks for your time. Have a great weekend as well. Hope you get to see the wife at some point. Shea, stick around. We're talking recruiting with Shea Dixon. A big weekend coming up for LSU, no doubt. And one fish already out of the boat, it sounds like. Shea will give you the details next.
You know how far I've gone. Now I'm home again. I'm feeling more alive these days than I've ever been.
At the Baton Rouge Clinic, our sole focus is to provide exceptional health care for your entire family so that you can get back to doing what you love most. We are caring for generations.
You gave me love.
At Cauble Banker One, we care about the children in our community.
And that's why we've supported Pat's Coats for Kids for more than 20 years.
We know many families face challenges in supplying a warm coat for their children each winter.
At Coldwell Banker One, we are working to meet that challenge.
Please join us in our efforts.
Contact the Coldwell Banker One Realtor today.
Or go online to coldwellbanker1.com to contribute.
Support Pat's Coats for Kids.
Help us meet the need.
At Benny's, we have everything you need to maintain your car, truck, or SUV. Benny's has 9 car washes with unbeatable, unlimited membership pricing. 6 express oil changes, offering full lube checks and free top-offs while you relax in your vehicle. And 3 Be Quicks, serving fresh food, hot coffee, and the supplies you need for your everyday adventures. Plus, receive fuel discounts on every gallon with each Benny's Unlimited Wash membership. Find us online at bennyscarwash.com or download the Benny's Car Wash app to find a location near you.
Our friends at Home Bank are known for investing in and giving back to our community.
That's why we are partnering to collect coats to Pat's Coats for Kids.
As you know, LeVar, the need to keep the kids of our area warm grows every year.
We're here to help. You can stop by any of our 4 Baton Rouge locations to donate coats. Corporate, Bluebonnet, Sherwood Forest, and Long Farm Village.
You can also help by donating online at WBRZ.com.
Help keep a child warm this winter, and we guarantee it will warm your heart.
Now return to the WBRZ Sports Takeover.
Welcome back, everyone. Shea Dixon of On 3, the Bengal Tiger, joining us now to talk recruiting. And Shea, one of the guys that we talked about earlier in the year on these very segments, Julian Shea, looking like he is going to make his announcement tomorrow. And at one point, it looked like an LSU lean, but they were going elsewhere now?
Yeah, it looks like Alabama. He had visited Tuscaloosa recently. Now he's going public. You see him there on his LSU visit. He's a junior in high school, so going and making an early commitment. Like I said, my pick would be on the Tide, but I don't think that means the end for LSU recruiting at quarterback. There's DJ Lagway, another 2024 quarterback target. They have a number of other quarterbacks in future classes that they're going after. Colin Hurley is a big name that's coming in this weekend. So it won't stop there. Kind of right on to the next top target.
We'll talk about some of those targets and visits after this, because Brian Kelly was asked about trying to keep pace and catch Alabama. Alabama's done obviously a fantastic job of sneaking into Louisiana and stealing some recruits, especially along the offensive line and out in Tangipahoa Parish, but along the offensive line in North Louisiana. And Coach Kelly was asked about what is it going to take to maybe stem the tide in that area.
This adage of locking down the borders it's like being a lockdown corner, you know. There are no lockdown corners, okay? There are good corners, and there are corners that are elite. We can be elite in the state of Louisiana, and that's what we need to do. I think you start there. It's about filling the needs that we have currently in our program. You know, we're not there yet. I mean, unfortunately, we're probably going to have to dip back into the transfer portal a little bit. We have some really good young players, and we're not going to forsake them. I mean, that's where we want to build this program. This program will be built on freshmen, but there are a couple of positions that still have, you know, holes in them that need to be supplanted with some transfers. But we're much better than we were last year. We'll get better this year, and then hopefully in another year. This is just about player development and bringing in freshmen. That's stage 2 in terms of getting to where we need to be to hopefully get to that final narrative of upstaging Alabama. But we're certainly not there yet.
So that's big, admitting that this will be a freshman recruiting base. And that starts this weekend with a big visit.
Yeah, big visitor list. And look, you saw Javian Toviano is one guy who's going to come in. You had some footage of him in there before. And then the guy you saw at the end, Kyrie Lee out of John Ehret, is an offensive lineman. We're talking about in-state offensive lineman. He's one that's here this weekend. So this will be the biggest recruiting visitor list we've seen all season. No surprise, right?
No surprise. LSU, Bama for all the marbles once again.